Nation, today is Wednesday, the 9th day of October 2024. I really hope you're all safe and healthy today. Here we are, hunkered down in Central Florida. I have my little morning coffee. Then got our supplies, got everything we need. Thank you all for your thoughts and prayers. Very confident, though, we are in my house that we're going to be safe, but there's a lot of people that's not going to be as safe. So please remember all of those people in prayer that's going to be in the path of this Milton that's coming tonight here. Going to hit here tonight, go through the middle of the state when I am in the middle of the state and go throughout the other side. You know, remember them, you know, and all of the people that are out here that we always mention, the first responders especially, and the medical people that are out here going to help rescue and deliver and help these people that are going to be in serious situations today. Again, I'm in Central Florida, so we are expected to feel it, but I'm not worried. I know we're okay. I just got that assurance. But for those that may not, please remember them. Also, of course, those teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia, even in these storms. And, of course, the victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on all the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create the demands for these heinous things, and double blessings on the homeless. More than 600,000 men, women, children, veterans, senior citizens, families, homeless, and unfortunately there'll be more after today. Remember them, double blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So, in spite of all of this, tonight there's going to be a basketball game. The Knicks are going to play in Madison Square Garden against the Washington Wizards in the second game of preseason today. And the Washington Wizards are a little behind. It looks like they're trying to rush their rebuild. That's never a good idea, to rush a rebuild, but that's where they're at right now. It looks like they got to rush the rebuild. It looks to me that they should be trading a bunch of those guys. Like Jordan Poole is 25, Kuzma's 29. He's their biggest trade chip. They should trade him. Generally speaking, the way a successful rebuild happens, let's take the Knicks, for example. You draft a bunch of young guys, your R.J. Barretts, your Mitchell Robinsons, your Emmanuel Quickleys. You draft a bunch of young guys, your Frank Ntilikina's, your Kevin Knox's. Some of them don't pan out. Once you go through some hell with them, winning 17 games, 21 games, you start to add a little veteran presence, like a Julius Randle. They still won only 21 games. Then you bring in a real coach to bring you to the next level, a Tom Tibido. Then at that point, you take the youngins that you still got, and you combine them with some sprinkling of some veterans, your Reggie Bullocks, okay? You combine them, your Alfred Paytons. You combine them with the sprinkling of some veterans, and you bring them with that coach, and you knit together something, and you're trying to get to 500. Now, what happened at the point when Tom Tibido came, they outperformed, which is why he was coach of the year. They won 41 out of 72 games that year. But that's how you do it. Detroit is now in that situation. Detroit drafted Cade Cunningham. They drafted a bunch of young guys. John Duran. They drafted some Jalen Duran. Excuse me. They drafted some young players. Sadiq Bey, Beef Stew, and now they now adding veterans to that. You know, you added the Tobias Harris to that. You added some veteran presence to the kids, the youngins you got. So now the next step right here for Detroit is they trying to get as close as they can to 500 after winning games in the teens and the 20s and being in the lottery. They're trying to get, that's the next step. Houston also did the same thing. They drafted a bunch of kids, Sangoon and them, Green, and now then they went and got Fred VanVleet, and they're trying to add some veteran presence to that, Dylan Brooks. And they're trying to get to that 500. They're trying to go from that next step. That's generally how you do it. If you try to skip the youngin part and don't take your licks and just try to get veterans and skip the youngin part, it ain't going to work too well. It never does. It's kind of like trying to skip a step. So you got to go through that step. So to me right now, Washington, I thought when they lost Kristaps Porzingis, they should just clean house. Kuzma, everybody should go, get the picks, get the kids, bring them in there, let them get beat up for a couple of years. Because, see, this is the thing that most people don't understand. You look at these young kids, and they look great and athletic and all that. But to learn the NBA game is a process. You cannot skip steps. Thibs is always saying that. You cannot skip steps, okay? There are some kids that'll come in and dominate, you know, like your John Morants. But that's a rarity, you know, and generally that's your top picks, but generally that's a rarity. Even you got to go through the learning curve of becoming a professional. And then just as importantly, you got to understand that the NBA is a grind. It's not just your physical ability, a 44-inch leap or whatever you could do. It's being able to do that over an 82-game grind and playing 3 games in 4 nights and 2 games in 3 nights and back-to-backs and showing up every night at a high level. That's the difference between high-level pros and people that only last a little bit. So you cannot skip steps. It happens to everybody. And that's why, you know, every year people come out of college and there's always hype mongers, you know, he's going to start or he's going to be in a rotation. No. You got to go through your steps. Okay, you got to go through steps. You cannot skip a step. Some people can, but those are the exceptions. And unfortunately, people like to point the exceptions out as if they're the rule. No, you got to go through the steps. You got to go through the grind. You got to learn the game. Everybody, it happens. Okay. So the Knicks are now at the point where they got their youngins, they developed their youngins, then they traded their youngins for high level OG Anunobys, okay, high level veterans, and you brought in your Karl Anthony Towns and your Jalen Brunsons and your Josh Hart. You brought in your Ragu, which you had to unfortunately trade to go get Cat, but that now you're at that next step. And then the youngins you got left, which is Deuce and Mitchell Robinson and Jericho, they have now thoroughly come through your system. They are your homegrown youngins. And now they're not even youngins anymore. They're veterans. Because even though Deuce McBride, for example, is 24 years old right now, he's a 4-year veteran. He's a 4-year NBA veteran and has been through wars and has been through playoffs and has been through pressure. That's what the Tom Thibodeau's looking for, see? So you got that now. You know, when he's healthy, Mitchell Robinson, you know, please never forget it was him pretty much single-handedly that destroyed Cleveland in the first round of playoffs 2 years ago. Because that's what he could do. That's how he rolled, especially when he's healthy. That's a youngin that Tibido developed. Okay, now you got Jericho Simson getting ready to get his chance, and all of us are most excited about him getting his opportunity after having been drafted 58th overall, worked his tail off to get to the point where he's at right now. I hate to hear people criticizing a boy like that has really put his heart and soul into getting out the most of his talent he can. So, yeah, we're pulling for Jericho Simson, okay? So that's tonight. The Knicks are at the point right now where we're championship contenders. See, we're not rebuilding no more. We don't need to worry about our youngins now. We don't need to even worry about grabbing any more veterans, even though some of your trade mongers are still tripping. They just need to stay healthy right now. They need to stay healthy, need to pace during the course of the year, get these W's up, finish top 2 or 3 in the East, get a good seeding in the playoffs, and get ready to raise hell and come playoff time in May. And that's what the Knicks are on pace to do right now. So today, the goal would be for Thibs to practice a little bit. That's what this is. It's really a big old scrimmage and not get anybody hurt. So I don't expect the starters to play more than 15, 16 minutes today just to get them more acclimated. They done had a day of practice. They're going to get some more, obviously, practice before the season opens. That's why I like that they got a total of, I think it's 5 preseason games. Get these wrinkles out. Get Karl Anthony Towns comfortable. And I'm telling you, each day he's going to get a little bit more comfortable because Jalen Brunson's that type of player that he can make you get comfortable with him. He's a championship piece. Cat is now a championship piece. OG is a championship piece. Mikal Bridges is a championship piece. And of course, our boy Hart's a championship piece. They're all championship pieces. And then, of course, he's going to, this Thibs, he's going to continue to experiment with the second unit. It's not a question, as I mentioned yesterday, of winning minutes in terms of people outside that top 10. That top 10 is set. It's just a question of how the minutes are going to be distributed. Okay, now we know Deuce is going to get good minutes. Like I said, I thought before the season 15 to 20. I still think 15 to 20. Go somewhere around 18. When the season goes, he's going to consistently get that. You're going to get games where he'll get 30 minutes. Not a lot of those, but because that means somebody's hurt. But it's about 18 minutes a game, 20 minutes a game. He's going to be a focal point on the second unit offensively. And so that's set. Okay, Precious is a set piece, a fixture in the second unit, can play the power forward and the 5, as we know, can defend for at least 4 positions. Now he's developing his jump shot. This is very good. This is what we were expecting, that he was going to work on that J. Now, he's still not going to be shooting like Stephen Curry, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a great enough improvement so that expands his game. He already can score around the rim. And so if he can shoot even league average from the 3-point line, we got something. You know, I thought Charles Oakley 2.0, I still do, except he's got a jump shot. Just like I told you about R.J. Barrett being Jimmy Butler 2.0 with a 3-point shot, which is what you're going to see this year. But this man is Charles Oakley 2.0, and he's going to have a jump shot to go with his package. So Oak did have a nice 12, 15-footer, though. And I think you're going to see that from Precious as well. So that's coming. Then, of course, you got Deuce, you got Precious. Jericho, as I mentioned, is going to get his opportunity. And it looks like Thibs, when they asked him, he mentioned first Cameron Payne and the disruption he causes defensively. See, that's more important to Thibs. Some of y'all still ain't got that point. So Payne looks like he has the edge in that 9th spot. But Shamet shoots too well not to get minutes. So like I said, usually that 10th guy gets about 8 minutes a game. And I'm expecting that to continue. Now, during the preseason, Sham's going to get more, Payne's going to get more, because you got to get them acclimated to the Thibs style. This is a good time to do it, okay? So they're going to get more minutes. But I wouldn't, you know, some people buying into some foolishness after the first game. Don't overanalyze preseason games, y'all. It's just experiment right now. When you get to maybe that last preseason game, you know, some of y'all will be glad to go crazy, but you can't then, because that's more akin to what you're going to expect when we play Boston, that last preseason game. Okay, but for today, he's going to be doing more experimentation. He's going to be running different combinations, and you'll see. You know, he's going to do that just so we don't want nobody getting hurt. Okay, we don't want nobody getting hurt, especially in that starting unit. So I think the kids on the second unit, you particularly Deuce, Jericho, and Precious, are tough as nails. All of them. So I'm hoping, they'll be all stay healthy. But it's that starting unit. Every time OG Anunoby falls, come on, man, get up. We want him to stay healthy. See, so and Cat, and of course McCullar and Brunson, all of them. But OG is the weak link now, right now, as far as that's concerned. So let's keep OG healthy, get him in the flow, and we're gonna be good. Right now, like I said, it ain't about anybody trying to compete for minutes. The minutes are set. Many of y'all just don't know it yet, but the minutes are set. It's just trying to get acclimated, get everybody in a flow, look at the different combinations that might work during the course of a season in certain situations. That's what Tibido is doing now. Keep everybody healthy. The Knicks are top 2 or 3 in the East. They're just that good right now. So I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about nobody. You know, Boston, Orlando, Miami, Philly. I'm not worried about none of them. You know, seriously, they got to worry about us. Okay, we give respect to Boston because they're the champs. But they got to worry about us. Y'all enjoy your Wednesday. Stay safe out there. Shalom.